下一个环节，我们有幸邀请到通商中国 CEO、新加坡国会议员陈佩玲女士带来题为“聚焦新加坡数字化转型，敞开怀抱，迎接数字经济”的主题演讲。
So Web3 could mean a profound change in the future of the internet. We're able to see that many countries and regions are paying close attention to the technological upgrades and the digital transformation it brings. So among these, Singapore has taken a more proactive approach. Ms. Tin is currently the CEO of Business China, a nonprofit organization that harnesses the support of public sector actors and private enterprises to cultivate talents who are savvy in the Singapore-China relations and to grow the global connectivity of Singapore. Without further ado, we'd love to introduce our next speaker, the CEO of Business China Singapore, member of the Singaporean Parliament, Ms. Pei Ling. She will share a keynote on the importance of digitalization in Singapore with us today. This keynote will be in Mandarin and the simultaneous translation will be provided in English. 陈议员您好，非常感谢来到本次 ETH 上海的峰会。
Hello, welcome to ETH Shanghai Summit.
Hi, a very good morning to everyone. Well, earlier you would have heard from my chairman, Mr. Li Yishan, speak in English. So for the rest of my speech, I'll be speaking in Mandarin. 大家早上好。
Good morning. I'm delighted to be invited to speak at the ETH Shanghai Web3 Developer Summit. I was asked to share my views on the importance of digitalization in Singapore, seizing opportunities in the digital economy. Allow me to share my point of view. But first, let's talk about the big context. We're living in an extraordinary time now. The world is in a flux, faced with many challenges and struggling to find an equilibrium. Using the most recent pandemic as a reference point, prior to 2020, we saw the world affected by the intensifying US-China competition and multilateralism under threat in several parts of the world. Then COVID-19 pandemic struck in end 2019. And more than 2 years on, the coronavirus is still around with new variants on the horizon, and global recovery is uneven. And as we thought that some semblance of peace can return as countries began opening up this year, the Russia-Ukraine war happened. These major events exacerbated certain cracks, catalyzed a new cooperation, but also reignited old alliances as manifested in the convening of the Trade Technology Council last year. Well, maybe you have found a keyword has been popping up this year that is perhaps appropriate in encapsulating the situation the world now faces is chaos. While the Meat world faces turbulence, it would also seem that the meta world too is going through a tough time, with Terra and Luna being the most recent focus, for which I commiserate with the many blockchain players who may be in attendance today. But there is a saying that a worm with 1,000 feet cannot actually die fast. So I hope you are relieved and act on the spirit and work harder. What I have articulated illustrate the challenges that a business face, especially those operating at the frontiers. First, the external environment is ever-changing. Second, new innovations will always face a turbulent start. That is when the business models are not settled, products have not matured, consumer sophistication is underdeveloped, regulations are not in place, prices fluctuate wildly, and while thriving enterprises may find themselves struggling, blockchain players find themselves in such situations today. It is thus valuable to find a stable place to ride out the challenges. There's always a silver lining behind each cloud. So such a place should be financially, socially, politically stable, should have forward-looking regulations, and the regulators should be well connected to the region and the world, and should be an oasis for talent. Then businesses can at least enjoy a stable place from which to tackle the challenges in the global environment and teething problems. And then let's talk a little bit about Singapore. As an open economy, Singapore is clearly subject to the impact of these world events, and we must always be ready to adapt and respond. First, a little bit history. Singapore has been a free port and trading hub since the 14th century. Though people would remember Sir Raffles Stamford as the founder of modern Singapore in 1819 more vividly. From then till before August 5th, 1965, Singapore flourished as a port and trading hub, but we always belonged to someone else. Then on August 5th, 1965, Singapore left the Federation of Malaysia. At only 580 square kilometers then, we had no natural resources, no hinterland, and no industry. We depended on the outside world for food, energy, water, unemployment's high. So the government made two strategic decisions that would have defied the conventional economic wisdom at that time. First was to shift away from import substitution in favor of export-led industrialization. Second was to attract global multinational corporations as vehicles to achieve industrial growth. Major infrastructural development investments and regulatory reforms took place. Our efforts paid off. Multinational companies were attracted to Singapore, and rapid industrialization took place from 1965 to 1984. Then in the period of 1985 to 2010, Singapore's economy went through several crises. Recession in 1985, Asian financial crisis in 1998, to name some of the crises facing Singapore. But Singapore took decisive and progressive steps to liberalize and strengthen our investment. The second phase of our economic development saw the transition of Singapore from third world to first world. By 2010, Singapore was an affluent society with a global city at the crossroads of international flow of trade, investment, finance, and talent. Since then, Singapore focused on building a high-value adding and digital economy. Therefore, as you can see by now, Singapore constantly seeks progress. We cannot afford to stand still or be complacent. But the main point is that we are externally oriented. We have policies and operating environment that encourage enterprise and innovation, and we believe in maintaining links to the world. We have a bias for progress, productivity, growth, innovation, new things. Our regulators are forward-looking and prepared to experiment. And with that said, it's a good opportunity for me to move on to Singapore's digital push. Today, Singapore is building from a position of strength. We have a strong and stable government, world-class infrastructure, and institutions that put us second in ranking in the 2019 World Economic Forum's Global Competitiveness Index, and a highly educated, trained workforce. And these help Singapore's development and also attract brightest talents and biggest tech companies in the world. Singapore is poised to become a leading digital economy of the future, with our projected overall digital economy CAGR between 2020 and 2025 to be 19%. Key factors of Singapore's digital success are: first, Singapore believes in digital. We are keen on embracing the future. We have clear plans to develop and adapt technology. The government is a key and enthusiastic user. We have a program that equips our population to be digital ready. Second, we are conscious of what it is needed and have been deliberate and disciplined in our implementation. Specifically, our approach to building the digital economy can be summarized in 4 parts. First, establishing a secure, resilient, and future-proof digital infrastructure. Secondly, nurturing a talent pipeline so that enterprises can flourish. Thirdly, international partnerships to advance digital economy beyond our shores. Fourthly, having regulations that strike a careful balance between encouraging business innovation and growth, while maintaining proper consumer safeguards. Then I'd like to touch upon some detailed digital infrastructure, Singapore has consistently made investments that helped us put in place an advanced, secure, and resilient digital infrastructure, which is critical to enable the digital economy. In telecommunications, for instance, we're among the first in rolling out 5G standalone networks, while we set a target to achieve nationwide outdoor 5G coverage by 2025. We're very likely to hit it ahead of time. Even so, we're already looking at the next bond, committing 60 million Singapore dollar into the Future Communications Research and Development Program to conduct cutting-edge communications and connectivity research, including 6G. Standards of which have not been written and therefore an opportunity for Singapore to participate actively in shaping the future. Riding on our investment in physical infrastructure, we have also developed a set of digital utilities that enable businesses and citizens to transact easily and safely across the economy. Some of these utilities, such as SIMPass, PayNow, and Invoice Now, facilitate day-to-day transactions, creating significant network. To this end, utilities must enable us to transact cross-border and hence interoperable. To this end, I'm pleased to share that Singapore is one of the 8 countries in the Digital Government Exchange Digital Identity Working Group, DIWG, to have outlined high-level principles underlying the future of mutual digital identity. This is perhaps also a first important step towards a metaverse future. Along with rapid digitalization are the risks that we need to tackle. Singapore is firmly aware of the need for robust cybersecurity and data protection standards to preserve trust. Therefore, during this year's Committee of Supply debate, which I partook, the government introduced the new Cyber Trust Mark, Cyber Essentials Mark, and Data Protection Essentials Program. We have attached great importance to blockchain, which I will cover this later. Then I'd like to talk about talents. A robust pipeline of skilled digital talent underpins many of our efforts to create a vibrant environment for businesses. Over the past few years, the number of tech professionals in Singapore grew by around 10,000 each year. However, the pace of digitalization is fast and it is increasing. A report by McKinsey suggests that 87% of the companies worldwide will soon face a skills gap. Our priority is to nurture a strong pipeline of local tech talent and to ensure that our existing tech workforce remains relevant and competitive. Our government actively partners the industry to cultivate and build a digital talent pipeline. This means that we need to welcome global talent. They bring expertise and skills that help sustain the growth of our digital economy. Hence, the government offered channels such as the Tech at SG and Tech.pass to let business tap on to bring in top-tier tech talent. Then, international partnership to maximize the potential of a digital economy beyond our shores. Singapore also pioneered the digital economy agreements, akin to free trade agreement for the digital era, to facilitate seamless end-to-end digital trade, connect the digital market, and build trust in digital systems. To date, Singapore has signed 4 digital economy partnership agreements with South Korea, Chile, New Zealand, Australia, and the United Kingdom. These give organizations the scope to trial use cases and technologies across different countries. Then, let's come to regulations. As technology advances rapidly and new solutions with new use cases emerge, existing regulations need to evolve or new ones have to be formulated. There must be a balance between encouraging business innovation and growth while maintaining proper consumer safeguards. Finding the sweet spot is often challenging. Regulators around the world are challenged to stay abreast of market developments while applying regulatory framework. Different jurisdictions may have different priorities and different standards. Take data protection, for example. Whatever regulations, they have the same objective. And more than 60 countries have set out to establish an open, free, global, interoperable, reliable, and secure Internet. Now consider blockchain. At present, there is no settled law of a blockchain, and jurisdictions are still interpreting existing legal and regulatory concepts. While some governments take lead, others take a wait-and-see approach, resulting in uneven development. There is significant uncertainty worldwide. Such uncertainty and variation pose certain challenges for businesses. These can be cost and labor-intensive for businesses. Even though some governments take the lead to talk about the new laws, however, the other countries take a wait-and-see approach, leading in more uncertainty. Such uncertainty and the variation have brought with challenges to businesses. They need to come up with a cross-border or cross-jurisdiction regulatory developments and their permutations. And these can be cost and labor intensive for businesses. But the fact that there is no settled law also means that there is still a good opportunity for the industry to contribute to how regulators and industry standards can be shaped. On this note, I should make clear that Singapore is not averse to blockchain technology and embrace the Web3. We maintain a positive outlook towards this robust growing industry and seek to be the regional blockchain hub. In reality, there are many blockchain projects going on in Singapore. For example, Project Ubin, that trialed the use of a wholesale CBDC, Partier, which is a blockchain-based interbank clearing and settlement network jointly established by DBS Bank, JP Morgan, and Temasek, and Chaffin, which is a decentralized credentials platform to support partnerships between financial institutions and fintech firms. And to encourage experiments, the Monetary Authority of Singapore launched a fintech regulatory Sandbox and Sandbox Plus to facilitate blockchain and the DeFi innovation, allowing first movers and early adopters to participate. And last month, the director says that the regulators is talking about ways of regulation and also think about the influence. In essence, regulations will need to evolve, especially for new areas. Singapore regulators have the expertise and motivation to come up with good regulations. Our regulators are motivated because we are interested in the technology and hosting the technology providers, but often regulators will need to balance facilitation and protection of users. Our regulations may not be fully facilitative, but balanced, and we are likely to be seen as a respected jurisdiction. So if products are accepted in Singapore, these products are more likely to be adopted in other regions. With a calibrated regulatory approach and a constant eye on the horizon, coupled with Singapore's drive to be interoperable internationally. And last but not least, I'd like to talk about the Business China. Apart from government efforts, the civil society and the industry can also contribute to digital economy. Business China is a good example. In order to build a bridge between the world and China's economic and the culture, Business China has bridged the members and the world and provide a catalyzation. For example, Business China is organizing our inaugural Singapore Digital Economy Forum on August 23rd, and the theme is in that. Later, on October 7th, 2022, Business China's signature Future China Global Forum will examine critical economic and social issues under the theme of stability amidst the turbulence. The guest of honor is our Minister for Finance, Mr. Lawrence Wang. If you are interested, please reach out to us. I look forward to a fruitful collaboration between China and Singapore in the blockchain space, with Business China acting as a bridge to spearhead these efforts. I also hope that in the many years to come, both China and Singapore will continue to build on our existing strong bonds as we strive toward greater success and prosperity for both countries. Thank you.